Yeah, Tony, it's been a bit of a clown show, isn't it, mate, in the last few weeks? But I've been reading your posts, but you seem to think this it's just all a distraction, though, or do you think there's anything to look into?
I'm not saying that it's all a distraction. It's just they put stories out there. I mean, for me, the main issue that we have, I mean, apart from the fact that they're taking out the power everywhere. I mean, that was before I was saying there was distractions, but I mean, that's just another topic in and of itself.
Yeah.
But what I was seeing is like the Daily Mail or some rag would put a story out. Like the first one was Katy Perry went to space. Well, I mean, that obviously didn't happen. I mean, space doesn't even exist, right? But that's another rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
it's obvious it didn't happen. But the truther community were speaking about it for days and days and
Yeah.
days and trying to debunk something that was obviously like it never happened in the first
Yeah.
place. And I was just like looking at everyone's posts about it, and I'm thinking, while everyone's talking about this, they're introducing more facial recognition. They're crashing the market. They're devaluing the dollar with Trump's tariffs.
Mm.
They're building this, digital net around us.
Mm.
And all we're talking about is like Katy Perry. And then the next day, another story came out in the mail, like that they were dimming the sun,
Yeah.
right? And we know that anyway. They've been doing it for years. But then again, it went on for days and days and days. And it's just like, and then there was another story that followed that. It was just like you could just see how they were putting stuff out,
Mm.
and then everyone was turning left while like, they're doing all this stuff in the background. And
Mm.
I'm not saying that this stuff isn't going on, but it's just like I think when they put something out there,
Yeah.
it's always to like kind of distract you from something else,
But
right?
isn't there? It's always something out there, though, isn't there? There's always a new story, isn't there, to like pull people's
Yeah,
attention to, though.
yeah, I know, but it really hit home to me just how like programmable the alternative media is, just like like the normal people are. It's just it's like jump and then how high, and
Yeah.
and and like the thing is, there's like not that many people talking about all the digital surveillance and all that kind of stuff coming in, which is what they're really gunning for now. I mean, they're really you look at Trump, that is the so-called savior. He's come in and they've got a $500 billion dollar injection in AI infrastructure in the States. And these are things. You got Tony Blair out there again,
God.
pushing digital ID. Funny thing about Tony Blair
Why
is
don't you not
like,
just fuck off, the little goblin? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, what I don't understand is like, if you're the cult, right, and you're picking someone to roll out the digital ID, and you've got like a
Yeah.
few
Yeah. Why,
options,
Tony?
like even the most indoctrinated like NPC
Yeah.
doesn't like Tony Blair, right? It's like nobody, like literally, I don't think I've ever come across anyone that likes Tony
No.
Blair or listens to what he says, or and yet they've rolled him out to push the digital ID in
Yeah.
the UK, and I'm thinking that doesn't seem like a very
No, why,
clever
yeah,
move.
why is that? I was thinking that as well. I wanted to ask you why they do that because he's clearly not a good poster boy, is he?
Well,
For
I think
either side, either political side, like everyone fucking hates his guts. I think if you'd ask most people, you'd want to see him, what's it called, horse drawn and quartered. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but for
yeah.
some reason they roll him out as if we're going to listen to his advice.
Yeah, I know. It was a strange one, but I think these people, they're chosen like from a very young age. I mean, you look at like Bill Gates, like he was the poster boy for, viruses for computers, and then and then you've got people like Musk that they're like groomed for these positions. It's all a script, it's all a play, and just like actors in a movie, they're all playing their different roles, and that role was probably given to him some years ago, and he's just literally just playing it out now, just the same as Trump and everyone else on the world stage. People need to realize that literally we're just watching the movie play out, and that's
Yeah,
all
but
it
I would
is.
say though that it's not a movie that's pre-recorded. It's like a movie that's in real time, if you wanted to call it that. And I would have thought if they're worried about the public opinion, they might have thought, okay, Tony, listen, you've been a good, you've done well for us, but we just can't keep paying you for it. You can't keep using you. It's not good optics for us.
Yeah, well, either that or they're just super confident of rolling
Yeah,
it out anyway, with or
that's it.
without. Maybe they're because the thing is about this cult is well, the first thing is they're very organized, and if they say they're going to do something, they damn well do it, right? Not like us, we can't agree on,
Yeah.
you know, contrast v, the other one.
Mm.
So they're very organized, but also they're just extremely arrogant. They just think that we're so dumb. I mean, let's face it, they've done a good job of dumbing most of us down. But I just think that they're at the point now where they don't care if things are in our face anymore. They're putting all the,
Yeah.
the satanic stuff out there, and they literally, you can just imagine them just sort of around their table, their banquets, just like belly laughing at the stuff that they've made us do. Where I mean, still today, was
Yeah.
it today or yesterday? Still today, I walk down the street. There's a woman with a mask on her chin smoking a cigarette, right? This is like
Still going on,
four
isn't
or
it?
five,
No,
four or 5 years.
I think a lot of those Covidiots, they miss it. I think they miss being governed, you know. I think for them
Oh,
it
it,
gave them a
it, it
sense
was
of
like
purpose, gave them a sense of virtue, gave them like something to kind of live for, you know. And when that was taken away, I think they almost missed that.
yeah, it was also like a fetish for them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
absolutely do believe that some of them wearing a mask saw it as like some kind of like fetish or something like
BDSM.
that.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't believe it. I just walked past like that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that for 4 or 5 years. That the whole mask with a cigarette in your mouth. I mean, that's like rolling back the years. But so yeah, like there are a lot of dumb people here, and you can argue whether or not they're NPCs. A lot of them, if we're in a simulation, I believe that some people are just programmed differently. They lack that curiosity, that spark. When you talk to them, that's why you get the glazed over zombie look, and then the Agent Smith comes in and they start defending the system because they're, etherically, astrally, they're wired differently, and so they're like you put in the response, and then they'll just spit it out.
Yeah.
But then also they've with the food and stuff, and everything. I looked at a photo the other day. It was on Instagram of a picture of St Albans Market in 1964 or something,
Yeah.
and every single person was slim. Like there was not like one like overweight person.
Yeah.
So just what they've done with like the fake food, everything's fake. Food's fake. The news is fake.
Yeah.
Politics is fake. Everything is fake.
Oh, just
Um,
just just on that quickly, just because I think that's an interesting point, right? Have you seen or have you looked into how people at like 30 years old now look so much younger than people that were 30 years old like 40 years ago or something like that? I don't know if you've
you
seen that,
think they look
but
younger?
way younger, mate, way younger. There was someone showed me a picture of James Bond, what's his name? Sean Connery at like 34, and he looks what we would consider now 54. I
Okay.
don't know whether it's the microplastics or whatever it is, but everyone is just looking way young. You look at photos of your dad and your grandfather when they were kids; they look like they're in their 40s.
Oh, right,
There's
okay.
something just I don't know. There's something weird about it.
Yeah, no, I haven't really noticed that one. I'll need to look out for that. But I mean, the one that makes me laugh is how everyone's a trans. I'm in that transvestigation Facebook group,
Yeah.
and oh my,
Hold it. Run that back. Pause it.
There, freeze that.
Full screen.
Hey, freeze that. Tighten up on that way.
Move in. More.
Zoom in right here on this spot.
I enhanced the detail and
Lock on and enlarge the Z-axis. Can you clear that up any?
I don't know. Let's enhance it.
I used to like who's that actress? Oh God, everyone used to love her. You're the same kind of age as me. What was her name? Dark hair. I can't
What?
remember her name now.
What? What?
Megan Fox. Megan Fox. All right.
Oh, well, yeah, she looks blokey. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I used to like her as a kid,
right.
like many blokes, not as a kid, as a young teenager.
Yeah.
And then in that group, there's like photos of her with like the Adam's apple, and I'm like, oh shit. It's
You
like,
just you're regretting some of those moments when
yeah,
you're.
yeah. Like a lot of these people that are out there in the public, they're not actually like the sex that we think they are as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, just a shit show,
Oh,
really.
it's the inversion, isn't it? It's whatever the Luciferian inversion of, like, getting everyone to worship the inverse of everything. But I would say though that it's a trick to kind of think every celebrity's trans. That's the
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I'm not
yeah,
saying that, but
yeah,
you cannot deny the Adam's apple in some of these,
yeah,
some of these people, and yeah, I mean, some people go overboard with it, and yeah, like I say, I'm not saying that everyone is, but certainly, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that, that some of these people are not what we think they are in that
yeah,
respect.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, and it makes sense, doesn't it? By the way, I was going to ask you, let's say the NPCs, just quickly on that again. I know we did a whole show on it last time, but
Did we go NPC last
yeah,
time?
we kind of started off with NPCs, yeah, and
I
then
can
we went
talk
into
about NPC
dinosaurs.
all the
Yeah.
time.
What percentage of the public would you say are NPCs? And for anyone watching here, we're talking about non-player characters, the kind of, if you're playing Grand Theft Auto, the ones that just walk around and don't actually do anything. But
Mm.
are we talking like like the majority here? Or are we saying that they're a minority, but they're kind of just completely, you know,
I would say up to around 70%, I think,
right?
are
Okay,
NPCs. And we can see that with just how many people are like interested in the sort of things that we talk about and the
yeah,
truth. Um, and yeah, like I say, I define them as, and people say, oh, isn't that an arrogant way of looking at it, like you're better than them? No, it's not. If you take this as being a simulation, in all simulation games, you have like the source player, the main characters,
yeah,
and then you have the NPCs. And the way I see this is it's just the same kind of thing. It's a simulation, and there's a lot of movies that allude to that fact as well. You look at the Truman Show and stuff like where you go, he goes out of his house in the morning, and then everyone comes out at the same time. And there's other movies as well that suggest this as well.
well, the Matrix, you said it earlier, right? It's that most people are the Agent Smiths, I would say.
Yeah,
And Neo, it takes a lot to be the Neo because it's the Neo's the one that stands out away from the collective consciousness, right? And
yeah.
conformity.
And Neo's the one that's able to like bend the spoon, right? He's got the creative ability, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would say up to like 70%. But the other thing that could tie into like the NPCs, or well, there's a few other things as well, or lack of, I don't know, awareness, curiosity, or whatever. Um, First of all, a lot of us here are getting our memories wiped before we come back down again, and we don't know how many times that's happened.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what that does to the soul. If you look into like the soul travel or soul trip, as I like to
Yeah.
call it, we have the life review, and then we get guilt tripped to say, oh, John, you really hurt Joe Bloggs in 2008, so you got some bad karma.
Mm.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, but if you go back down, have another life as a Vietnamese goat farmer with one leg, then you can resolve that karma.
Really? Do you think do you think that's what happens? You kind of like, because you feel bad, you kind of get offered another lifetime, and you go, all right, I'll
Yeah,
do
well, they tell you need to learn certain lessons, right? They tell you that Earth is a school, and we're here to learn lessons. And I mean, it can't be, if you're getting your memory wiped, by definition, it cannot be a school, because in a normal school environment, you do the research, you take the test. If
Yeah.
you fail the test, you've still got the research to take it again. But here, you take the test, you fail, they wipe your memory, you come back with no recollection of what you've researched in the past. I mean, look at the word research, retire. These are things that we've done before, clearly. So, we don't know like how many times we've been around here. So we don't know how many times we've been through that veil of forgetfulness or the memory wipe process. So we don't know what that does to our consciousness, how it fragments it. Maybe that dumbs us down to some extent. But one interesting thing about NPCs is that I remember I reviewed one NDE where the person that was having the NDE reported seeing like normal souls and then mechanical souls going into like human bodies. Yeah, so
Oh,
I
wow.
thought, well, that must be the NPC thing going on there. So
Yeah.
that was quite telling.
What
But
did you do? You actually did a session. You did a regression, or
no, it was because I spend a lot of time researching these NDEs
yeah,
that people have. Well, they're fake anyway. They get shown all these like heavenly realms and stuff like this, and these these light beings and guides and the angelic realms and stuff like that. So they get given the love and light experience.
Mm.
So then when they get pushed back into their body to come back down, then they become an agent of the matrix and say, oh, don't worry about death. You know, your loved ones are going to be there. Your angels are going to be there. Jesus is going to be there. God's going to be there, whatever. And so when people, that's preparing people for when they do die, that when they come across those beings, they're not going to have any discernment. They're going to be like putty in their hands. So yeah, this was just one of many I watched or reviewed. I can't remember, but they reported these mechanical souls. And these could be like the program people. This is why, like, you know, like, think how crazy it is right now. And you're still getting the same responses from people. Like, don't get me wrong. So a lot more people have woken up.
Yeah,
right?
you're still getting the same.
But still, like, you know, I talk to some people close to me, and it's like COVID never happened. It's like,
yeah, and they don't want you talking about it either. That's the thing.
Yeah,
they don't want you talking about it.
It's like they can't see these patterns. It's like, surely you must be at, like, there must be something ringing in your brain right now. But they're like, and then they'll defend it. So still people are calling the conspiracy theorists until.
Oh, you know what I've noticed as well? There's a pivot that goes on, and I predicted this years ago, and I said this would happen, right? You know they've been spraying the skies for I reckon for decades, right? But let's just say years, just to make it simple. I was telling my family about that, and immediately they just said, "John, just shut up, you fucking wacko!" Right? Immediately, like, come on, just shut, please, John, you're embarrassing me. You know. Now it's all come out about they want to, you know, they're dimming the sun. It's going to start spraying the skies. And I said, do you remember that conversation we had? Do you remember we talked about, and you called me a conspiracy? Yeah. And I said, they're admitting it's now, it's dimming the sun. You know, I think they're doing that. And the reaction from one of my family members was to say, yeah, but it's of course they're doing it, but it's good for the climate. This is so. Can you see how they've gone from the concept of that is complete conspiracy theory? Now it's well, of course it's happening. I mean, it's good for the climate.
Yeah.
I mean, the past, like what they said before, it's just, it's actually quite mind blowing. And the other family member was like, I said, you know, they're dimming the sun. It's obviously not good. It's going to weaken our health, right? If they're dimming the sun. You're a conspiracy theory for suggesting that. Good theorist.
It's like what Morpheus said in the Matrix. Like, people are not ready to be unplugged. And they'll fight to defend the system that enslaves them, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's the earmark of the NPC. I don't know whether we spoke about this in the first podcast we did about NPCs, but I remember the defining moment came for me. I was on a bus from Puerto Escondido to Oaxaca here in Mexico, and it was a 12 hours rigorous. The aircon broke down. And they had movies playing on, like, the whole 12 hours with the TV right there. And I was like looking out the window and just pondering stuff, you know, as you do, and like asking all these questions. Why is the world so messed up? And, you know, all this stuff, right? And then I looked around, and there was just a defining moment, and every single person on that bus was like that at the TV, right? And I was like, well, that's it. There's no curiosity about anything. There's no like pondering anything. There's no. It's just it's just NPC behavior.
Because I think you mentioned another story as well. I can't remember, but I'm trying to find one here. Okay, so I was in Paris. This was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and I was doing a social experiment where I had headphones in and I would drop my wallet on the floor. And I would say nearly everyone would like run up to me and give the wallet back, right? One girl actually took it. She put it in her handbag, and I caught that on camera. Oh, really? But there was one moment. There's this Asian girl, and I think they're probably almost like, I think they are more NPC. Some of these Southeast Asians.
We'll go into that in a minute. But
I don't know what your opinion is of that, but I dropped this wallet right in front of her. I've got it on camera, and she actually she's glitching because she cannot work out. Like it's like the computer can't work out what's going on. Just doesn't know what to do with the...
Yeah, and if you look at them, they look like graves. You know, they're with the eyes like graves entities.
Yeah.
And greys, the entity raised the greys, they're very much like worker bees. You know, they're like the dogs in the astral realm, right?
Yeah.
And so they are, you know, by definition, quite obedient, or they're programmed that way.
Yeah.
And I lived in Asia. I lived in Thailand and Cambodia, and you know, I traveled to Japan and all around Asia. So I know that, but Japan was incredible. It was like literally everyone was an NPC. Like it was just
Oh, in
they
Japan.
were just going to shopping malls. They were just all on their phones, and just it was just weird. Um, and I wonder if there's been some kind of, you know, genetic, you know, manipulation to make them more obedient, or, you know, they obviously China was the blueprint for the NWO. So there's a game come out. I don't know, I forget what it's called, but
Yeah.
it's just like NPCs, right? And you can go up to them and talk to them. And there's all these videos of people like trying to tell them that they're in a simulation and stuff, and they're like what glitch?
Find it.
Oh yeah.
What makes you say it's a door to the real world? I don't have any concrete evidence, but it's just a feeling I have. I need to try everything I can to find a way back to my wife and reality. Please, can you help me find that door?
You recorded it.
Yeah. So what? I don't get it.
I
So,
remember this guy, this guy here.
yeah.
He was a more conscious NPC. He
Right.
actually had like some memory of a family or something. Most of them were like, when he says that they're in a simulation, they're like, oh, don't tell me that, you're lying. But I think this one was a little bit more clued up.
Right. So you're saying there's different levels of awareness, self-awareness to the characters now, like it's growing.
Yeah, it seemed to be that when he was chatting to all these NPCs,
Yeah.
some of them had a little bit more awareness than others.
Mm. Right. Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, because like I wonder, like at which point did it become so intelligent within the game that you go into the game from this matrix and you go into this video matrix, but then the people in there think that they're real, right? And they're having conversations.
Yeah, they think that they're real,
Yeah.
but they can't comprehend that they can't comprehend that they're not,
Yeah.
but they kind of know that they're limited as well. It's weird.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's scary. That's like Inception, isn't it? It's like a Matrix within a Matrix, like Russian dolls sort of shit.
Just on that, have you seen the new Black Mirror series?
I haven't, do you know, I haven't watched. I was the one telling you to watch it in Mexico when we were there, and you hadn't watched it, and I was like, you got to watch it.
Oh,
Yeah, bad.
yeah, yeah. I won't spoil it, but yeah,
All right.
if anyone's not watched the new series, it's
Mm.
yeah, obviously it's very dystopian, but it just shows where they want to take things.
You were talking about there's an entities one recently, no?
Oh yeah. So that was in the last series, yeah. So that one was a good one because it just. Did you watch the one where the woman she was a Boney M fan and
I think I only watched the first couple of series, to be honest.
oh right, okay. Well, there's an episode in the one that you're mentioning is basically. I'm just trying to think back because it's about a year and a half ago since I watched it and made that video. But the long and the short of it is that she I think she calls in some demon. She does some kind of ritual because she wants some help or something. And this demon shows up and he shows up in his true form, right, as a demon. She's absolutely terrified, right? But she's a Boney M fan. Like before, she's like watching Boney M videos. The guy with the big afro, the coloured guy with the big black afro.
Mm.
And then he's like, "Oh, did I scare you?" And she's like, "Get away from me, get away from me!" And then like he clicks his fingers and he becomes the Boney M character, right? And she's like, "Oh God, that really scared me." So then that she felt more comfortable with him, right?
Mm.
And then in the end, this entity that was masquerading because that's what entities do, got her to like I don't know commit all these murders and stuff, and you know it was just. And I was like, well, that's what I've been saying for years. Like these entities will masquerade as anything. This is why people need to be careful when they're channeling or thinking that they're dealing with guides or angels or friendly alien races, because you're literally just dealing with a demon, even down to loved ones. I've told the story many a times. I've had one particular guy thought he was channeling his dead dad.
Right.
And he's because they know everything about us. He was telling him what his favorite food was and everything like that. That gave him more confidence that this was his dad. Anyway, he followed the advice of this entity, and his life just ended up a complete mess. He just lost his job, his wife.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Do you think? I mean, because we've had this conversation before, but you don't believe there's any good entities, but you think they're all bad, don't you? But
well, I think so if you say that Earth is a prison,
mm,
and the astral realm is the prison yard, and so when you go and take these plant medicines or DMT, or you try and connect with anything, you're connecting into the prison yard. Your intention is going into the prison yard. And that's where all these entities are, and these masquerading entities.
mm,
And so basically what you're doing is you're playing Russian roulette at that point.
mm,
Now, I'm not saying that there's not anything good in creation. Of course, there must be, right? I mean, there's good humans, there's good and bad humans. But in terms of the astral, which is just a layer of this matrix, if you envisage this as a video game, that's like a level of this video game.
mm.
So literally you're going into like the computer programmer's home, basically, where all these entities, and what I think is the AI, is feeding on all of our energy, and where this is all coming from. So yeah, I'm not saying there's no good anywhere ever in existence, but certainly in the astral, I wouldn't be looking to connect with anything. Certainly wouldn't look to be connecting with anything that calls itself an angel or a guide, or even down to a loved one. And that's very triggering for people, because people, they want to think that their loved ones are still around, and all that stuff. Well, chances are, let's face it, they probably went to the light tunnel like everyone does. And they're probably either recycled back down here on planet Crazy, or they're in the real afterlife realm, which is like the Beetlejuice realm, the film Beetlejuice, where it's like another earthly realm where there's jobs and there's people have money and stuff like that, which is the real NDE. It's not the show they put on for the fake NDEs. So that's where people go when they really die, and apparently you wait there, and that's under more lockdown than this planet, right? There's police and stuff like that, and you have to go, when you die, you go to like the registration center or the processing center, which is in the film Beetlejuice. When people die, they go to the processing center, and then you're given a ticket or a card, and someone comes to pick you up, and then they take you off, and you end up in that real ending, where people are just as indoctrinated and brainwashed, and there's still like a 5D ascension agenda being run there.
Where are you basing this? Is this just off other NDEs?
This is off NDEs. This is off experienced astral travelers, researching experienced astral travelers that have gone into that realm. And the thing is that people don't realize that they have telekinesis abilities in that dimension. So where they could create food and money instantly with thought and intention, they're still working jobs, because they're used to Earth. It feels good for them, right, to do the same things, right? It's almost like you become addicted to this place. There's bars. I mean, the Beetlejuice film, there's bars and pubs. People are having sex and stuff like that. Because you can have like astral sex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But these astral travelers are saying they don't understand, or they don't realize or remember that they have these abilities, these telekinesis abilities, and they can fight back, And this particular astral traveler says that one time he was in this earthly realm, and it's like a big city, and there's police there, and one of the police came at him with like a baton. And he said, using his telekinesis abilities, he turned the baton back on the guy, and the guy was hitting himself, right? So we have all these abilities, which is very important that we remember them now, because we don't know if we're going to need to use them. Hopefully we won't. Hopefully, we don't go to the light or whatever, and we get out of here. But for me personally, I'm making sure that I'm going into that part of my existence, fully battle ready.
Yeah, where do you go if you don't go to the light? Where are you going to go? I know you said you tear a hole through the matrix, or when you die, and that.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, yeah, I'm definitely not going to the light, that's for sure. And I'm gonna, use my intention, because it's like driving a car. Your intention in that dimension is instant. We can create realms like as well. If I said to you, John, like shut your eyes and create a place for me with a lake, mountains, and some wildlife. That's already there. You've already got that. You've already got an idea. You've created that. That exists in the astral. So when we're in the astral, we can do that. We can create realms. And the problem is, it's like people are not driving their car. So we've got this car, which is our consciousness, and these entities are meeting us and driving the car, or telling us we need to drive the car this way. Come here. Have a life review. Yada yada, all this stuff. And people are just like, oh, okay then, because they're so used to not being sovereign here on this dimension.
They're listening to the others, yeah. So you're saying use your intuition, just go with your instincts on that one.
Yeah, it's so you've got to take control of the wheel and you drive the car out, right? So my intention is to get out of the astral. I want to get out of the astral realm. How all of this looks like exactly, I still don't have all the answers, but I know that's going to be my intention, and hopefully at that point, we have more awareness, and maybe we, maybe there's like there's different variations of what people said. Some people have said there's holes in like the grid of that's over the planet, and other people have said that we, teleportation, or we can do these different things. So, but the other thing is, I'm not going to be engaging with any kind of like entities that are, like saying they're on my team or anything like that. It's just discernment.
What are you going to do though if like your grandma or something like turns up and it's like, Tony, are you going to go fuck off? You're not real.
Yeah. Have you seen that Star Wars episode?
To be honest, I stopped watching Star Wars as soon as
there's a clip where the woman, this guy is trying to get her to come with him at death, and she's like, no, you're tricking at me. Why are you so desperate for me to come with you? I don't trust you. And he's like, well, we've never had anyone like this resistant before. And she's like, my father wouldn't be so insistent that I came with him. You're not real. You're trying to trick me. It's all in plain sight. It's all in the film. So there's so many movies that talk about Soul, the Disney film, is another one. And there's the NDE propaganda has really ramped up over the last few years. There's been Netflix series about all these near-death experiences. You go to any NDE channel, they've got hundreds and thousands of subscribers and views, and
because you said about that other realm then. So are you saying that that's the only alternative, or are you saying there's like infinite alternatives, or is that like the Beetlejuice realm, as you called it?
No, that's the Beetlejuice realm is where I would assume you end up if you go through the light tunnel, right? And you then get tricked by entities to
I thought you came back here. I thought you came back here.
Yeah, so that's like the waiting place.
Oh, right.
That's like so they've got the astral lockdown the same way they've got this realm lockdown. So both are under lockdown basically. And this astral travel in particular, he said that the Earth is actually more free than this astral version of Earth.
Shit, don't say that.
So what we have seems to be like a situation where we have souls trapped on both sides, both on this side and on that side.
But you're saying that's like a halfway home before they come back into this realm, is it?
Yeah. So, excuse me, but yeah. So it's said that people can live there for up to 30 years before they end up coming back down here.
Yeah.
And then obviously you get your memory wiped, which is a very horrific experience from what I've researched. There was one NDE that I researched, and the guy, they said you need to go through the veil of forgetfulness, the memory wipe, And he's like, no, 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 I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through that. And they're like, well, we'll tell you what. These entities said, we'll put you in the training center before, so it won't be so bad. There's a training center that people go to. It's just like here, you know. There's offices. There's there's It's just
Yeah.
set up the same way almost. So this is why, like, it's really important we kind of grasp this now. I mean, I know it's like it's a big
No, it's
shit.
not. It's. And I'm actually interviewing Howdy on the weekend.
Oh,
McKenzie.
well, yeah, I mean, he's on the same kind of level of all this. I don't know how far he's gone in terms of the other earthly realm that people are going to. But that again, that's in movies as well. There's one particular movie. I always forget the title of it.
Hmm.
I can't remember, John.
Disney.
Yeah, but it's a '70s movie. Yeah, it's got from the whole. Hang on, it's on one of my
Let's
shorts.
find it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Defending Your Life.
Okay.
If you don't watch anything else
Yeah.
this month, watch that film.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Right,
in the '70s. I won't spoil it
explain
for people, but it talks about everything I'm talking about here.
Defending Your Life. That's in the 90s. It's a 90s movie, no?
Oh, was it '90s?
Yeah.
I knew it was old. Must be
1991. Yeah.
early '90s then.
Okay. It's a romantic comedy fantasy film.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it talks about the death and then being going to the processing center and everything that I've spoken about here.
Okay.
Yeah, the life review. He has the life review.
Mm.
It's no joke what's going on. Like people, I think people they want to think, and I get it, that like this is the end once we pass. Like this is the end of all this enslavement BS and everything like that.
Yeah.
For me, it's just the start. This is why.
I don't know what's more terrifying, like infinity or just nothingness after this lifetime. You know what I mean? Both is equally terrifying.
Yeah, but I think also we need to remember how powerful we are, and like I say, we have all these telekinesis abilities, creative abilities. They don't want us to remember who and what we are, and part of that's down to the memory wipes that we're going through.
Yeah.
So when we leave here, we have to have an empowered mindset, like an unwittable mindset, because they are, they're terrified of us actually waking up to our true nature and our true powers. I mean, you look at what they're doing to us. Just here in the physical realm with all the poison in the food, the water, the air, and then you look at the astral with the entity attachments, the etheric implants, the overlays. It's just ridiculous, right? So you can look at it two ways. You can look at it all, we're screwed, or you can look at it as, well, why would they need to do all of that stuff to us,
We can't, yeah, but we can't be that powerful if we're stuck here. Do you know what I mean? Because if we were like gods, we wouldn't be siphoned off into this little tiny matrix, right?
Well, I mean, we've been tricked, I think we've been tricked here. Or either that, or I feel like there was like an original copy of Earth, and this is like some kind of virus or infection that's come in. Because you look at it, we spoke about how everything's inverted.
Yeah.
How everything is like even nature, something's got to consume something else to survive. So people say to me, yeah, but nature's beautiful. Nature's freaking ruthless. I watched a video the other day of an eagle took a goat off the side of a mountain, flew to the highest altitude, right, and just dropped it, right? And this poor little goat went bang, 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 like until obviously and then the eagle just came back down and just started like
Going at it again. Jesus.
It's like don't tell me like nature's brutal, right? So we live in a world like where something needs to consume something else to survive. Like I used to be vegan, right, and that I don't recommend it now because you need the animal nutrition. But even now, I'm not vegan. It still feels weird, the fact that I have to, eat a cow. It still feels weird to me. But that's how we're made. It's like something, and everything is consuming something else, and our energy is being consumed. at the end of the day. These entities and this AI is siphoning off our energy to power this whole simulation. So we're the batteries, like the movie The Matrix. We're the
Yeah.
batteries.
So in the Matrix, though, there's like an objective reality, you could say, right? Even though when Neo wakes up into the pod and then he goes onto the craft, right? That's meant to be the objective reality, but he doesn't consider whether that's also another Matrix, does he?
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
So I'm just wondering,
But,
like,
but,
you
but
know, what is
the
the
pods,
objective layer of reality here? You know?
yeah, but the pods is an interesting one because a lot of astral travelers have seen people in pods, and yeah, been a lot of reports of pods being there, like that actually being a thing. So is our
We could be in
consciousness being
pods. We could
projected?
be, yeah, we could be strapped up to like the Sims game in a pod. Like, there's a Red
Yeah,
Dwarf episode as well, where they're in a
yeah,
simulation. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, but then I'm guessing though that when you wake up in the pod, like, how are you to know that that's not a simulation as well in another, like, Inception style, like.
Well, I would hope that if we wake up here, then we wake up there. That would make sense to me. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't have all the answers.
Yeah,
It's
obviously, yeah, we don't know, do we? We're
yeah,
just guessing at this point.
I still, every day I sit and think about these things and, try and come up with
Yeah, and actually,
good
funny enough,
answers.
I told I was going to have a chat with you to a couple of my mates, and one of them wanted to ask you, have you heard about the declassified documents about the gateway process? That was one of his questions to you.
Yeah. So that was Robert Monroe who he actually became corrupted in the end. They got to him. He then started saying Earth was a school, I think, towards the end of what he was doing. But his initial teachings from his travels are very interesting. You can listen to them online. And what was the question specifically
Yeah,
about
because he
him?
said that it was declassified
Oh
about
yeah. So yeah, so he did. Yeah,
remote
he
viewing
done.
for who's watching, you
Yeah,
know.
he did the whole gateway thing, and then I think after that they got to him and said, "Well,
Mm.
he's getting too close to the target, let's say." So yeah, it's yeah. I think we need to as much time as possible just research it. Again, I think he was in the astral. Again, the astral I would say is the prison yard. We want to get out of the astral.
Mm.
And the other thing as well, like, we don't know. I mean, I'm hoping this is not the case, but we just don't know. I mean, we have to be ready for anything. Like, there's this false light. Maybe there's other false lights. Maybe it's all about discernment at that point. We have to, if we don't exercise discernment in this realm, it's not like you die and you have your discernment ready. It's like knowledge that, like, we got to do that now. We've got to prepare now for them, basically. So becoming sovereign and discerning and remembering the abilities that we have is something that we need to do now.
Can you
So
not do it here then? Do you not think you could telekinesis and whatever, teleportation and telepathy here?
I think well, they've given us this human body, haven't they? Which is, to me, it's a torture device, basically. I mean, you look at the nervous system. I mean, it's so evil. Like, the fact that we feel pain, like, and we have to go through the death process is inherently evil. It seems to be a perfect vessel to siphon off our energy, because if we're in pain and suffering, that's caviar for these entities, right? And even down to like the other day, I had like a nose hair, and I picked the nose hair. When you get the odd long one, I
Yeah,
picked it. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
like, why does that have to hurt so much? Like,
yeah.
who designed it that way?
Yeah.
So they've put our consciousness into these cages, and I think it makes it difficult for us to do that physically. But of course, you can lucid dream and astral travel. You can definitely do stuff energetically, and clear stuff and clear planetary stuff and all that kind of stuff with your intention and stuff. But yeah, I mean, physically teleporting. I don't know, mate. Telepathy. I definitely think that we can. I mean, that happens a lot. Like, how often do think of someone, then you get a phone call or text.
Well, I get it where I'm looking on the side of a bus and I see a word, and the immediate moment I see that word, it's on like, I hear the word, someone's talking about it, and I see the word and I hear the word exactly at the same time, which is millions to one for that
Yeah.
to happen. And I get that at least, I would say I was getting it like once a week, once or twice a week. Now I'm getting
Yeah.
it maybe once every month, I would say now, but I was getting it once or twice a week for a good few weeks.
Yeah. No, I don't doubt that we have all these abilities, but they've made it harder for us to access them with the body, I think, and with with the memory wipes and stuff. We've forgotten all this. They don't teach us these things at school for obvious reasons. Much better to teach us pointless stuff like algebra that you're never going to use, or fake versions of history.
Yeah.
Which we know they do. So they're not going to teach you about your ability to use your energy to heal yourself and telepathy and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's funny because I just did a show about it was like a discussion debate about trauma being the real cause of all illnesses. It's called German New Medicine. I don't know if you've kind of looked into it a little bit, but I do think that the body is actually always trying to heal itself, but it gets caught disease and then you think there's something wrong with you. But I believe the body's always trying to come to a homeostasis, and then certain things will play out on the surface level, and we go, oh, that needs medicating. There's something wrong there. Even cancer is meant to accumulate toxins to kind of heal the body, right? But we've got it all the wrong way around. I don't know why I mentioned that.
But the thing is, I mean, okay, but I mean, just lately for me, like I play a lot of sport and swim a lot and, play football and stuff. And I've noticed like my knees are starting to ache, right? And that's down to like overuse, obviously, or age. Like not a lot, but I'm thinking, that in itself is a bit of a flaw. You know what I mean? There's so many flaws to the body. So we're told it's like this wonderful thing. And I just think you just got to look at the nervous system and who would invent, like, if we're talking about an intelligent creator, who would invent that to induce so much pain on someone? It just seems evil to me. So
True. Can I do a bit of a quick fire on you? Because I've got some questions. So I asked my mates to come up with some questions for you, my followers. All right, Virginia Dufresne. The S,
Yeah.
I mean, what's just fishy, right?
You know what? I haven't even really been following that story. Did she die in the end?
Yeah, she got S'd,
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not laughing because I'm happy. I'm just like, it's obviously not that, is what I'm kind of saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like Prince Andrew is, I mean, it's almost like he's been used to like hide the fact that they're all at it.
Yeah, he's the fall guy, but they're all at it. Charles is one.
It's like, oh, look over here at Prince Andrew. So no one looks anywhere else.
Yeah. What happened to the Epstein client list anyway? Like what?
Yeah, I know, right? Trump was supposed to like expose that and I don't know, start the arrest, which that hasn't happened. But even that's a very mainstream story, isn't it? I just the real stories are like these psychos and the people that are doing this. We probably like the people that are really behind this agenda. It's not the Tony Blairs and the Bill Gates. You probably wouldn't even know their faces if you saw them, right? And I think at the deepest level, you're dealing with demonic entities, or AI. I think the entity races and AI both have agendas. They both want to, enslave and take our energy. So I think they roll out these people and they're just like you say, fool guys, or they're not really. It goes
like
way.
Skynet. It's like Skynet, and it's like the evil Terminator guy. Like the fast. Like whatever. Like that guy. The police cop from Terminator 2. Skynet is controlling him, right? I'm guessing it's a little bit like that. They just got these people in positions of power, and who are kind of who are taken over, and they've got a software.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't know. Like, there's all these like. Have you seen some of these like plastic masks they're using on people that look like
Biden?
And then you got like AI, like you got like people's eyes glitching, like it's a robot. There was one video I watched where it was a robot, and they put I don't know Biden's head on it or something, and it just looked like you don't even know if you've got an AI that's talking in front of you these days. It's
I
just,
think that I think there were multiple
do you
biases. One
remember
of them
Chris
must have been
Whitty?
AI.
Do you remember Chris Whitty?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the video when the COVID was out? He was like the health minister, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's there was a video of him like, and he didn't. It went on for like 20 minutes, and he didn't blink once.
Oh,
And,
I posted that on my TikTok at the time. Yeah, he does
yeah,
not.
yeah.
I zoom in on his face on my TikTok.
Boosters give you the best possible protection against the virus and should significantly reduce your risk of serious illness and hospitalization. Get your COVID-19 booster vaccine to strengthen your protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that cannot be human. That's got to be AI, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know whatever happened to him really, but
Yeah.
so we we don't know what we're dealing with, and the people that are really behind all of this, they're not even people, they're entities. There's a force behind all of this that is doing all of this, which is coming from the astral. So I've been saying a long time, like we've got to kind of shift our focus a bit, because I think they're quite happy with people like looking at all the corruption here on the 3D level of it all, but I think we've got to go behind the curtain and start looking more into the astral and what's going on with this behind the scenes, so.
And do what though? And like, I mean, my mate zaps them. He kind of kills the entities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've got a whole training group, people doing stuff with planetary, and I mean, you can do that. Right? There's all kinds of AI and stuff like connected into the planet, black cubes, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, we have the ability to do that. So maybe we're we're doing stuff from the inside outwards. So
yeah, man. Just quickly, to circle back round right to the beginning, right? You were saying about the digital ID. So, I mean, that's been going on a while as well, hasn't it? But do you think that that's the biggest existential threat right now? Do you see?
Well, at the moment, we're in the middle of a reset. We know that every now and then they have to reset everything. I had a guy called Guy on my channel that speaks about the Cabbage Patch Kids and
the railway children.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and that was clearly a reset. And I think they were basically cloning. There's a whole generation of cloned people, which could also tie into the NPC phenomena. So it seems like we're moving into the next one. We know that they're gonna need they want to reset the financial system. They want to bring in the Internet of Things, and everyone's going to be hooked in on on like the AI there. So I really think that we're kind of at the start, or approaching the middle of that. I mean, we're seeing that with all the electric cuts and stuff. So I forgot what your question was.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, okay, so which do you think is going to be like, if we're playing psyop bingo here, which one do you think is going to come up first? Do you think it's going to be like
the main thing? Well, it's all going on at the same time, isn't it? Their intention is obviously to digitally enslave us through CBDCs, which will be through stable coins. I think the whole crypto community is a psyop, really. They've got everyone interested in that. And I'm not saying to people, don't make your money and get out, right? You can use these things, right, to your advantage. It's like we're using the internet to spread awareness, right? We wouldn't be able to do that if it didn't exist. Internet's AI. So we can use these things, but the whole thing with that is, we know that they want to have digital money and programmable money, so they can turn it off if they don't like what you say, and you're not going to be able to pass down any generational wealth, because
it's not backed by anything.
Do
you think they're going to get us all on that, and then do like a cyber attack, and so we lose everything?
Well, I mean, if they're going to do the cyber attack, then if you look at what happened in Spain, and my mum was in Spain, and it's pretty chaotic. People. I think humans are pretty, they know us better than we know ourselves. They know that we're, survivalists. I mean, survival is an illusion anyway, because there's no getting out of here without death and suffering. It's the way this place is. Even if you have a relatively, even if you die during sex, right? It's still, you're still gonna not stop breathing, and for that moment, it's gonna be traumatic, right? But they, yeah, they just want that they need to reset the world essentially, and turn it more digital, more AI, and I think that's what's going on. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's finish off with a positive then, if there is one.
Well, the thing is, it's like, everyone says that, but what, like, we do we? What's the point? What's the point of like polishing a turd? It's like, it's kind of like we've got to call things as they are. Like, what's the point of me coming on and saying, "Oh, the astral realm's really good"? Like, there's some,
I know.
some loving beings.
Yeah, but there's also got to be some hope as well, I reckon. For
the hope is us.
Yeah, us. Yeah, that's
the
what
hope
I'm
is
saying.
us.
That is the good.
We're the hope, and the hope is us waking up and remembering who we are and realizing our abilities and our powers. And I think if enough of us do that, then we can end up bringing this whole thing down, because we are the batteries that power it essentially.
Yeah.
And if enough of us can get out or whatever, then you take anything, you take a battery out of an appliance, it's going to stop working.
Yeah.
So, and they're not doing everything their own way. I mean, you look at all the censorship they're having to do, and we thought we'd have these jab passports, which didn't happen. So we don't know.
Uncle Bill wants another round of that, though. You can tell. He just can't wait, can he?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think that the hope is us and people like us. But of course, everyone wants to like look outside themselves for a deity, Jesus, and that's the other scam, because if you look outside of yourself, you're always going to end up getting manipulated and tricked, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, perfect. All right, my man, smashed it
All
out.
right.
Good to
worries.
always connect with you, man. All right, yeah. Any? Do you want to just say your YouTube as well and all the stuff?
It's my name, Tony Sayers, and my website's transcendingtimes.org.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having me on, and I love the NPC chats we have.
We have to get that in, because you're like my NPC kind of guy. Not you are an NPC, but like we talk about it when you come on. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my man.
All right.
Cheers for that.
Take care, mate.
See you later on, dude.
Yeah.